As the days of Noah were, so shall the coming of the Son of Man be. That is the word that I brought yesterday, a prophetic word from the Lord where God was speaking again about a topic that He's been speaking about for quite a while. More than 10 months, I would say. God has been speaking continuously, building up upon a word that almost would seem and sound bizarre to the church. God was speaking about aliens, UFOs, UFO ships, and the Lord revealed to me through dreams and visions where God was showing how these things will appear in the sky. The Bible tells us in the book of Luke, chapter 21, and it says, verse 26, men's hearts failing them from fear and the expectation of those things which are coming on the earth, for the powers of the heavens will be shaken. The Lord gave me a word on the 22nd of February of this year, again where God showed me UFO alien ships in the sky. This time around, they were much more than what I saw the previous time in a dream. God has really been building up on this word, and every time God would just add another piece and another piece, and the Spirit of the Lord showed me how these things will accumulate, how it will be increased. And God started showing to me even how these beings or entities or whatever you would like to call them have the ability or has the ability to change form and shape. God showed me in one of the dreams where I saw an alien and the alien shape shifted. The Lord showed me how it shape-shifted into a reptilian. The following dream the Lord gave me, the Lord showed me that an alien that fell from the UFO ship as it landed upon the earth was then not an alien as we perceive or see in movies, but it was a human being this time around. Then the Lord gave me another dream on the 22nd of February, as I just mentioned, and God showed me how these beings have now even increased so much. The Lord showed me an alien entered into my house. These ships were everywhere in the sky. The Lord showed me how many people were in distress, distraught. I went into my house. I shut my door. By some means, one of these entities entered my house. I saw a green alien just as they are being portrayed on movies and on television. I saw one of these entities as I was hiding in my house, and then all of a sudden another entity was in my house, and this time around it looked and was in the form of a combination of human flesh, a human being, and a chicken. Now this sounds entirely bizarre, but what the Lord said afterward gave me an understanding of what God was revealing. The Lord said, this is genetic mutation. This is DNA manipulation. Now, I know, and I hope that you know what I'm speaking about. Have you ever watched the movie Rampage? Now, if you're a movie lover or a movie watcher, you've probably come across this movie. And in this movie, they actually reveal the lady or one of the actresses in the movie actually reveal about a CRISPR. And CRISPR, the acronym is CRISPR. And this acronym stands for, I would just like to read it to you. And just give me a moment. So CRISPR is short for clustered regularly interspaced short palindromic repeats. This is a technology that research scientists use to selectively modify the DNA of living organisms. CRISPR was adapted for use in the laboratory from naturally occurring genome editing systems found in bacteria. There you will see that there is already technology, AI technology, and scientific technology that people in the world are already using to manipulate and make mixtures of DNA samples. The word of the Lord came to me, and God was showing and speaking and saying, this is already taking place and this will increase. The type of beings that we are about to see that will walk on the earth, that will be released on the earth, these are entities or beings or creatures, if I could put it that way, that will be a combination of DNA sampling, DNA manipulation, which is also a word called hybrids. Now, I'm sure that you've probably heard about this word before. I am based in South Africa. I don't know how much of the church in South Africa is aware of this thing. I do not fully know why I never hear about these things, but I can tell you, wherever I go, I never hear people speak about these kinds of things. These kinds of things would absolutely sound bizarre to many people, but I believe that the Lord is sharing this information with the church because there is a position that we need to take as the church. There are some real spiritual activity that will increase upon the earth. And though many things is spiritual, I do believe that many of these things will in fact be physical encounters. The Lord showed me in this dream where I actually, in the room where I was, where this human being chicken appeared or came after me in my house, there was an availability. It was almost like God put scissors in my house. Two gigantic, I've never seen such big scissors in my life. It was almost like the Lord placed it there in the dream for me, and I took one of these scissors and I stabbed this creature. Another dream the Lord then revealed to me yesterday morning, another dream that the Lord showed me, and this time around God showed me people, a city, a town where people was running around. It was nighttime. People were in distress, in and distraught. I saw families, I saw children, I saw everyone outside. And this time around there was another release, another phenomenon in the skies, and I saw lots and lots of UFO ships. I saw, even as I described in the dream yesterday, the dream opened where the Lord showed me the vision that the prophet Ezekiel even saw of the wheel within a wheel. These are one of the angels in the heavenlies. But as the Lord instructed his disciples in the book of Matthew, where the disciples asked the Lord, how shall we know when you will return? What will the sign be? And Jesus instructed his disciples, and the first thing he said to them, make sure that you be not deceived. Satan is not a creator or maker of anything, or God is the sole creator of all things. And I believe that the enemy will copy and mimic a lot of things of what God has made in the heavens and in the earth. And therefore, Jesus told his disciples, be not deceived. For many will come in my name, the Bible tells us. Many will come in my name. They will tell you, there he is, there he is. And what Jesus tells them is, do not go there. The church needs to understand we will encounter some supernatural things. The Bible declares to us in the book of Genesis chapter 6, in the days of Noah. In the days of Noah, there were some occurrences that took place, not just the fact that people continued in their own wicked ways, but there were some occurrences that took place, things that were being done that corrupted the earth, that altered the earth in such a massive way that it was needed for God to intervene and say, here is where I draw the line, and I am going to put a complete halt to everything that is taking place on the earth, and I'm going to send a flood. That should tell you that whatever took place in that time, must have been extremely severe. It must have been extremely gruesome for God to have actually said himself, I will put an end to everything that I have created. We must understand God created everything that he actually destroyed. He created himself, and then he decided, I will destroy it, for everything was corrupted. I would like you to take you to a verse as the Lord was speaking to me about hybrids, which is something that the church does not speak about, which is something that I believe that the church is not all too familiar with, which is something that sounds extremely strange, and you would rather avoid this kind of subject, or would actually call it untrue or just conspiracy. But when we look at a book that was taken out of the Bible, the book of Jasher or Yasher, however you want to pronounce it, and in the book of Enoch, where Enoch prophesied of the watchers that took wives, daughters of men, they cohabited with them, and they brought forth giants. The Enoch tells us, and Enoch prophesied about how these giants then continue to produce seed. They continue to bring forth giants, and the whole earth was altered with so many powers that mankind did not possess. The watchers taught many things unto man and women, and so the earth became altered. It describes it. And then what happened is that there wasn't enough food for these giants to eat. This is something that the church needs to understand. This is a topic that the church needs to become familiar with, because I believe many of these things is going to be released, just as the book of Matthew and as the book of Mark and Luke tells us. It will be the return of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ will be as in the days of Noah. There will be things that we will encounter that we have probably only seen on TV, and we will be amazed, shocked, distressed, distraught, in chaos and absolute disarray for the things that will be seen. God revealed it to me in dreams, and the Bible, the chapter, the verse in the book of Jasher, it tells us, and I would like to read it to you, where Jasher chapter 4 actually reveals to us that this practice that we see now of DNA manipulation, or genetic engineering, or genetic mutation, however, whatever you want to call it, is the very same thing, where DNA or different kinds of species are being combined to form or create some kind of thing or creature. This has even taken place all the way back then in the day of Noah, in the days of Noah. And it says, I will read from verse 16 to 18. And all the sons of men departed from the ways of the Lord in those days, as they multiplied upon the face of the earth with sons and daughters, and they taught one another their evil practices, and they continued sinning against the Lord. And every man made unto himself a god, and they robbed and plundered every man his neighbor as well as his relative, and they corrupted the earth, and the earth was filled with violence, it says. Verse 18 says, and their judges and rulers went to the daughters of men and took their wives by force from their husbands according to their choice. And the sons of men in those days took from the cattle of the earth, animal, the beasts of the field, and the fowls of the air, and taught the mixture of animals of one species with the other. It is very important that we understand that this is not something new. The Bible tells us by King Solomon that even wrote in the book of Ecclesiastes, there is nothing new under the sun. Whatever we are going to encounter in the end times, whatever we will see by artificial intelligence, by different kinds of technologies, science, various kinds of manipulation of DNA and materials. This is not new. These things have occurred in a previous age, in a previous generation, and the Bible warns us clearly about this. So the Lord, I would just like to shortly share the dream that the Lord now revealed even in the dream of yesterday morning. After God showed me the hybrid, the Lord showed me another hybrid. This time I saw a huge, gigantic ape, gorilla, King Kong, what we call it by the movies, but I saw this huge being, this huge creature, animal standing very tall, high stature in the street where people were scattering and running around. And I saw a release of UFOs in the sky. The UFOs turned to the side as they were descending from the sky upon mankind, and they started to beam. There was beams, lightning beams that almost like rays that shined out or were being released from the bottom of the ships upon people. And I heard a sound, a loud sound that said track, 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 a shouting track. In the dream, the Lord had on a coat. I was able to run for my life, and I was able to pull this coat over my head. I had sunglasses on. This was in the nighttime. This was in the evening time, but I was able to pull this over me, and I believe the Lord was protecting me from being tracked by these beams. I will share another word as the Lord continued to say that we as the church needs to take a position where we start to pray. We have to release a sound, a voice of intercession in the church. We are dealing, as the Bible tells us, our wrestle is not against flesh and blood, but our wrestle is against principalities, rulers of darkness, spiritual hosts of wickedness in high places. In the book of Ephesians, the Bible tells us to put on the whole armor of God. And I believe that the Lord is calling the church into intercession to disarm principalities over regions, over nations. This is the word of the Lord as God was speaking about a time that will be as the days of Noah, that we will start to see coming upon the earth. My name is Jackie. Until next time, God bless you.